weekend. Our next speaker is a native of Lake Charles. Started at Barbe High School and at McNeese as a quarterback after originally signing with Clemson. Served as an assistant at Dodge City in Kansas, and then at Northwestern, at LSU, Texas State, and Central Arkansas. He's now in his second season as tight ends coach for the Green Wave. At 3-3, Tulane will host South Florida, nationally ranked team at 16th, this coming Saturday at 6 p.m. at Yulman Stadium. Please give a warm Quarterback Club welcome to Coach Slade Nagle of the Tulane Green Wave. Slade?
Thanks, Ken, and thanks everyone for having us each and every week. I know we send a different coach. I think Coach Fobbs came last week, and so I'll talk a little bit about last week's game and then our next opponent. But first off, Coach Valdez, wish them the best of luck this week, and I'd wish Coach Rebo good luck, but they're open, so they're going to win no matter what this week, right? So it's the best week of the season most of the time, correct? But anyway, last week we went on the road down to Miami and played a Florida International team that did a heck of a job. You know, they outplayed us, they outcoached us, really from the start to the finish, and they kind of flipped the script on our recipe for success. They controlled the ball, they won the run game. They matched us in the turnover battle, which we've been very successful with this year, and all in all, they outplayed us really in every phase. And when you look at us, we're 3-3 this year. We were coming off 2 big wins, and a lot of people will tell you, hey, we got a little big-headed, or we overlooked them, or whatnot. And we really felt like our kids prepared well. For whatever reason, we went out there on Saturday, we didn't play very well, and I guess that's still part of the maturation process and building a program and going from one step to the next, and that's something we've got to get better at, and it lies on us as coaches. So, but when you look at the game, Florida International had a good quarterback. They had a really good receiver. They were able to mix it up and really be 50-50. I think they rushed for a little over 200 and threw for a little over 200 and kept us off balance defensively a little bit, and then offensively, they exposed us somewhat and really tried to put everybody down at the line of scrimmage, and we were able to make a few plays and break some tackles and be a little, have a little success running the football, but we struggled, throwing the ball, and just didn't have a very good night. So as a whole, I think our football team understands that, it was I don't know if it's a good thing, but it was a different vibe you got on Monday morning walking in after a loss than I think any other we've had here in the last year and a half. And you could see the disappointment in the kids' eyes, and in a way that's a good thing because they're taking ownership, and hey, we didn't compete, we didn't perform at the level we needed to, and the only way you get better at that is you put your head down and you go back to work, and that's what we're doing this week. So we had a good practice this morning. We practice in the mornings, and we went back out today and got after it a little bit, and like Coach Fritz tells them, hey, regardless of win or lose, come Tuesday morning, each week's the same. And that's how we approach it, and I think our guys did a good job with that this morning. So South Florida is our next opponent, and they're coming down here, a very, very talented football team. They're good on offense, they're good on defense. The quarterback, obviously, on offense is probably their most featured player. He makes a lot of plays running around with his arm and his legs. And then on defense, they're very, very experienced. I think they've got like 10 starters back. They're good up front on the defensive line. They're good in the secondary. A couple of the corners are very highly ranked throughout the country. I would say as a whole, this is probably going to be the best defense we've played this year. And when we played Oklahoma, they had a good defense, but these guys they're pretty good, and they're pretty good in all phases. So, it's going to be important for us to do what we do, and what we preach each and every day to try to be successful. And number one, that's run the football and win the run battle. Control the clock and win the turnover battle. And if we can do those things, we feel like we'll have an opportunity to compete and be in the ball game and see where it goes. And you look at college football, and we blow a Tulsa team out 2 Saturdays ago that turns around and blows Houston out the next Saturday. And I don't know how many upsets there were this past weekend. So it just shows you that each and every week in today's game, you have to prepare and be ready to go. And what happened last week doesn't matter, and that's really what we've tried to preach to our kids and really prepare just like we do, for any other opponent. And hopefully our guys will compete and and come out and play a good football game Saturday. So that's kind of where we're at. This starts the second half of the season. You know, this will be our 7th ball game, and we're 3-3, so we've got 3 home games left and 3 road games. So far, we're undefeated at home, and we haven't won a game on the road. So obviously, you know, not this week, but moving on down the road, we have to learn how to win and carry things over when we go on the road as a football team. But as a whole, our kids are doing a great job, and we're not perfect by any means, but they're doing things the right way, and we're getting there. And I look for our guys to bounce back and compete and really have a good showing this Saturday. So, any questions? Anybody?
Coach, you were talking about the FIU stacking the box, line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Do you expect to see that from this week's opponent? And,
Yeah.
And how do you, counteract that and work on, improving tremendously in that area?
Yeah, as a football coach, obviously, a lot of things you see people repeat when something, is effective against you. So I think we probably have a pretty good chance of seeing some form or fashion of that. It basically comes down to a couple of things. When they're going to outnumber you with people in the box, you got to break tackles, which we felt like last week we did a pretty good job of. We still rushed for 208 yards, I think, and when people were putting 8 and 9 guys down in there, that's a pretty good night, We've got to improve. We've got to be able to do some things on the perimeter, and that's going to be a little bit of the focus. And obviously, it's no secret Jonathan didn't play very well, and he knows that, and he's owned up to it, and he's going to work his butt off and have a good week of practice. And we'll do some things as a coaching staff to maybe help him out, some things that we didn't do quite as well, and make it a little easier on him. But I would say that's an area that we'll probably see some of that again and have to get better at it, and have to be able to take advantage of some of the things that we didn't.
Hey, Coach Slade.
How you doing?
The offense, it appears that the tight ends are not utilized, and on occasion when they are, it looks pretty good. They threw it to Jones and he got stopped for a loss, but they never went back to it.
Yeah.
Is that because it's not a part of the offense, or you all have to look as the game goes to see if what type of defense they're running, that the tight end would be open?
Yeah, we've tried to get them a little more involved this year. In fact, I can't remember what game. I think it was Army or one of the games. We actually, throughout the game, we called 6 or 7, different play calls trying to force the ball to the tight end, and it just didn't happen, and wasn't there. And last week, we struggled getting the ball to anybody, much less a tight end. So we have, we've built more and more things in our offense to try and get those guys the ball. Especially Charles. Charles is a dynamic athlete, and he can do some things. And, we just got to do a better job as a coaching staff, and then, obviously a better job executing some things too. So, it's there. You just got to take what they give you. And sometimes what they give you is not that,
Question, the tight end position is clearly evolving. Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's changed the way you guys recruit tight ends. Are y'all going out and recruiting basketball players or trying to get them? That seems to be where they seem to be getting some of these bigger tight ends. Is it changed who y'all recruit now?
The game's so different now that you ask that guy to do a lot of things, and it's, number one, he's got to be athletic enough to play out in space, because very few guys just line up with their hand in the ground anymore and come off the ball, and, the offenses are really not built that way anymore. So you got to have guys that can play out in space. You got to have guys with some ball skills, but then at the end of the day, they also got to have a little toughness too. So, it's a unique position, and we've kind of gone the mold of trying to find a little more athletic guy that at least shows that he has the ability to have some toughness, and then teach him how to be a blocker, once he gets there. And like you said, yeah, there's been several basketball guys that have had success doing it. We'd love to have Jimmy Graham. If you find one, call me. We'll definitely take him. So, anybody else? All right, thank y'all.